Coming to you practically live.
You are not allowed to get rid of that outtake.
I realized I was staring into the monitor.
And you went full Mitch McConnell on me.
I know. Click, click.
All right.
Coming to you practically live from the...
We got closer this time.
I did. We got one word more. Coming to you practically live from the tap room floor. Jesus. Coming to you practically live from the tap room floor at the Greenville Beer Exchange, or GBX as the cool kids call it, on Lawrence Street in glorious downtown Greenville, South Carolina. I'm a little hoarse. I'm a little froggy today.
I see that. That's right. We're going to get some beer in your rest.
I know. Geez, that can't happen too soon. I'm Russ Heaps, and welcome to this episode of Big John and Five, where I get my good buddy here, Big John Richards, who is the... it doesn't matter who he is. to pick a beer from one of GBX's 2022 taps, or hundreds of cans and bottles that they've got in a retail store up front. I haven't even had anything to drink yet today.
We're off to a roaring start.
Jeez. we sip them, we sniff them, we get bits about them. John usually tells us a little bit about the brewery and sometimes a little brewing history. And with that, John...
Well, let's get started, Russ.
What do we got?
Let's get started. We're drinking a Kolsch to get our day started today from Halfway Crooks, which is one of the best lager breweries in the country, not just in the South.
I've never heard of it.
They're still a very small brewery in the grand scheme of things, I think, although I'm saying that because they're still hard to find. Not because I know the size of their brewery.
Right.
But they, as far as I know, only make lager beer, and they make absolutely spectacular lager beer. And this Kolsch is really kind of more of a hybrid, so I may have just even called myself out here, because Kolsch is actually fermented with ale yeast, but at cold temperatures. So it's basically it's like a hybrid way to make things. Anchor steam beer was the same way.
We know what happened to them.
Right. Except it was reversed. They used a lager yeast and fermented it warm. I hope I have that right. Fact check me out there. You can at me. It'll be fine. I may have gotten that backwards because my brain is backwards. But
down in the comments section, you can put, where did you find this clown?
That's exactly what I hope to find in the comments section. So we got a Kolsch in front of us here. German style, originally Cologne. That's how it got its name. Most of these German beers get their names because of the city they were made in. And every little city in Germany has its own kind of beer. And so Cologne is Köln, and so Kolsch is the way you would pronounce it if you were German, which that sounds weird when you say it in English, so we call it Kolsch.
We could have called it many things.
We're calling it that.
We chose Kolsch.
Super, super light, easy beer, bready balance. There's sometimes a little bit of like a citrusy, or sometimes I've gotten a little appley fruit on the front of that, and it doesn't appear to be out of character. But most of it's really, really bread focused, easy light bread, white bread kind of malty sweetness, and then a little spice on the finish. You're super focused on the bready aspect of it, and how clean and dry the finish is without getting bitter. It's just if you find a Kolsch and it's bitter, it's wrong.
Write that down.
Write that down. So I'm going to pour this up for us, and we're going to taste it. I got that first out of the way.
Have you had this before?
I have. This is an outstanding beer. We've had this on draft here at least once. This may be the first time I've had it out of the can.
Coincidentally, when I got here today, John was in the can, and I had to stand out front for about 10, 15 minutes while he finished the paperwork, if you know what I'm talking about.
Some days are better than others, Russ. This was a good day.
Well, shall we?
Let's do it.
Text Miss Lily.
I forgot to smell your beer, Russ.
I did. I'm so parched.
Man, it's that little, you can smell that there's like an earthy, like a very tiny little whiff of barnyardiness to this. Which
It's a little,
in my opinion, often evidence of very fresh beer.
it's a little funky on the palate, too, I think. It's not just the nose.
Well, not much. It tastes like white bread and friggin' Biscoff cookies. There's a little bit of earthiness as it lingers with me, where that, it's not said that thing can leave a little spicy finish. This has got that spiciness.
You don't have to agree with me just
No,
because.
but it's because I let it sit.
Okay.
And you have to do that when you're tasting. You have to stop. If you want to taste a beer, you have to take a sip and then you have to stop. You have to wait for it to happen, because it's a process. You can't digest all of this all at once. You have to let it linger. Because the aftertaste, the mouthfeel, all of that's important to how the beer presents. If you don't want to think about it, you can just knock back beer anytime you want to, and you're more than within your rights to do so. If you want to taste a beer, stop after you take a sip. That's all I got.
After all these years, you telling me I'm doing it wrong? Really?
Welcome.
You could have pointed that out 5 or 6 years ago, and maybe I would have been able to contribute a little more to this.
It's I'm currently studying my way through the Windows on the World wine course for the SOM exam as well, and one of the things Kevin Zarelli is adamant about is that it takes a full 60 seconds to taste a sip of wine. 60 seconds. You need to spend a whole minute with one sip.
Write that down.
Write that down. And that's instructed me on my beer tasting as well, just thinking that way. And I've always kind of felt like you've got to stop, you've got to let the mouthfeel happen. And all the beer books that I've read talk about the same thing, but nobody really quantified. Take 60 seconds. The first 10 seconds will do this. Then 20 seconds later, it'll be this. And then the last 30 seconds, you're waiting for this to happen. Nobody quantified that the same way Zarelli did in the wine book.
That's a wonderful tip.
It is. It is.
It's a wonderful tip.
You have to sit and enjoy your thing, right? I have something for you while you sniff. And you got to take time with the aroma too.
Now I do get bread. Now I'm getting bread.
Yeah.
Now that I've actually had it in my mouth, now I can smell the bread.
I think I've talked about this on other episodes too, that you need two sips to understand what you're doing. Your first sip is just setting your palate, and the second sip is allowing you to understand what's happening. Once you're in the beer, you don't have to take two sips every time, but you do, when you change to a new beverage, you need two sips. And if you come stand at the bar and ask for a sample and you get 2 or 3 samples in front of you, or a flight, God forbid.
He hates flights almost as much as he hates hazy IPAs.
There's only like 3 sips in this glass, and it takes 2 to get to the to reset your palate. Just get a beer.
Get a beer, by God.
I want to talk about Halfway Crooks before we let these people go, because it's a super fun brewery, and I just signed up for their newsletter based on this. I went to go look up how long Halfway Crooks has been in existence, and I did not find that. Here's what I found. The Halfway Crooks Beer Code of Conduct.
I like it.
It gets better. The man is camped on a great plain with a small fire providing a flickering light and intermittent warmth. Tiny wisps of smoke ascend into a vast, clear night sky. Tomorrow, the sheep will move, leaving behind today. After 10 steps, these are lost from sight and smell, probably forever. With them, he leaves too his brief speculation about sky and earth, brought on by the calmness of night, and he peers toward the horizon in search of beauty, love, and lager.
Jeez. I'm getting all misty over here.
Sign up for their newsletter, I guess. You get a bunch of that stuff. So.
Yeah. It's beer and poetry. How about
Right.
that?
Seriously, it's good stuff.
Anything else we should know about this, you think?
Let's leave these people with a little poetry in their lives.
There once was a man from Nantucket. Now, look at us.
I said poetry.
So damn lucky. See you next time.